Hi everybody, this is Jackie for Jacqueline Ann Designs, and this is going to be my floss tube for the month of May. And it's not going to be a very long one, and you'll see why in a little bit. But before we get going, I want to talk about a couple of things. First of all, I have mosquito bites on my scalp, on my forehead, all over my arms, just everywhere. This is despite being fully clothed, and off spray all over me. I don't know if the mosquitoes, I don't think we've had mosquitoes this bad, but we've also had so much rain here. We always get mosquitoes in the spring and then they come back again in the fall. Because in the middle, we're just too dry. There's nowhere for them to reproduce. But they are really bad still right now. Now our temperatures are starting to get up into the 90s. I'm expecting all of this bug activity to kind of go down a little bit, and then we're going to have the crawly desert things. We're kind of bad. We're in a desert environment here. We get scorpions. You name it, they'll come in the house, and they're not the little bitty ones. They're big honking things. But, I live on the rim of Palo Duro Canyon, which is a state park, and literally every creature in that park is rightly protected. But living on the rim of the park like that, everything also comes into your yard. And one of the creatures that comes in, comes up, because we live in a high desert here. Even though it doesn't look like we're mountainous at all, we're not. We're actually very similar altitude here as Denver. And it's very apparent in the winter. But we get like a mixed up bag of garbage of weather in the winter. And this is in the panhandle of Texas. We're up kind of catty-cornered. I live the nearest city to me. I live out in the country. The nearest city is Amarillo, Texas. It's rocks, and so that we live on the edge of rim of a canyon. I think you get further into town, into Amarillo, and I think they have a lot more. It's not quite as rocky. But nonetheless, that's the type of environment. So we have really hard, heavy winters. And this is Sweetie Pie, my little Yorkie Poo, who is trying to climb around me and climb around my stack of whips and things that I have over here to the side. And she's a mess too. Please excuse. We have already been out and she's been rolling around in that dirt out there. So guess what we get to do. But anyway, I wanted to explain what you were seeing on my face. You may see ultimately on my arms. And I got carried away with the scratching, and I've got that senior ultra thin skin. And so that did not fare well. And it's in the healing stages on my arms right now, but it's going to take a while. That seems to be the thing. All right, off, Sweetie Pie. Off. You sit. No, get down, sweetie. Sit here. Sweetie, not right now. Off. I don't know where it is. Here it is. All right. Are you wanting that one? Well, then you're going to have to give her this one. All right. Now, to another thing that I think you're going to notice, and although I'm hoping to get most of it edited out, is I do have two pups. One of them, I've had her since she was about 8 weeks old. She was from a puppy mill, an unfortunate thing, but she came, she hardly had any hair, little things like that. But she has now developed a full doggy body of hair. And it's different. It's like cotton ball hair. So I don't know if that comes from the Yorkshire Terrier side of her or the Poodle side of her. But anyway, she it's a mess when she goes out and rolls around in the dirt. And so really she's due for a haircut, so we're just going to bathe her and cut her hair, which she doesn't like. Now, the other thing is we have a new family member, and he is a little, I think he's getting close to about 10, maybe even almost 11 weeks old now. I don't know his exact birth date. But he is a little dappled Dachshund. Last time he was weighed, which was about 2 weeks ago, he's 4.5 pounds. So he's still little, but he's a mini Dachshund, but not a toy Dachshund. So he's one of the in-betweens. And he's was born without one eye. He does not know there's any problem there. So, but one side of his face is slightly droopy, and I think it's because the shape of that side of his face is changed because he's got an eye socket there with no eye in it. So when he gets neutered, I think they're probably going to stitch that closed to help keep down the risk of infection. But anyway, he is going through the terrible twos, is what I call him. He's, Dachshunds have a personality anyway. They can be real stubborn. Some of them are hard to get along with, and he's not hard to get along with, but he just knows what he's going to do and how he's going to do it. He wants to be very independent, and he wants, right now, is going through that phase where he is chewing on everything, just goes right to the mouth, chew it, and even you. And so we're trying to teach him not to do that. And then he just says, he's an active little guy. He does not want to sit around. He wants to be quite active. So, and he'll calm down after a little bit, but it gets a little bit more age on him. But for right now, all right. And there's a lot of jealousy going on between him and the other dog. Sweet Pie, no. Now move. Go over there. Over here. Over here. No, Sweet Pie, sit there. Maverick, no. Or you're going to go into the bathroom. Which I wish I had purchased a crate for him. I think he is a dog that somehow to get him some quiet time, we need to do that. And so I know there's several out here in the garage. I may go and borrow one. And we may be working on that because he and I can tell that he wants to have a little den. And I think that I can use it to help train him. Now, he's doing pretty well on his potty training, but he definitely not, it's not because he asks to go out. It's because I take him out. So, and I'm not in a position where I can just let him run out the door. So it's just the way that this apartment is set up. You have to go out into the garage. I live in a tiny little studio apartment on the side of a family member's garage. And he would have to go out into the garage and then go to another area, to another door to go out. And all he sees opening that door is for an opportunity to go explore the garage. And he hasn't had all of his shots yet. He's still in all that process of boosters, etc. And I just worry about his immune system. So, and there's two garage cats out there. Now, the owner of the garage and the cats does keep everybody in their shots and all of that. But yeah, those cats chase mice, which I'm thankful for because that means I don't have any mice in my apartment. But, I don't like it. So, but there might be some cute little interventions. But here I will show you a picture of, several pictures. I'm going to pop them in here so you can look at them. And then the video will move on. And then we'll see if they still pop in here or not. Now onto my floss stitch. I have not gotten any slow stitching done because what happened, for those of you who tune in for slow stitching, by the way, I still have my number 7 Roxy's Journal of Stitchery project going. I just haven't gotten to work on it. I've been doing so much cross stitch. And I've got some other projects that I'm working on for upcoming birthdays, things like that something had to go to the side. So I'm going to talk a little bit about what's going on, and we'll go from there. Now, I think first I'm going to talk about Stitch Camp. Now, I am doing the virtual, because I know there's more than one Stitch Camp out there. Some are in person and some are virtual. And I am doing the virtual Stitch Camp with Colorado Cross Stitcher. And she's doing this on Instagram, and I guess also on her blog, excuse me. And I think there is a special Facebook group set up for it. I didn't really join the Facebook group. I'm kind of Facebooked out. You know, there's a certain amount of social media where you just kind of say enough is enough. And I belong to several groups. I just really don't want to add any more groups. And I really mainly want to be there for the groups I'm on now and for family and close friends. And that's it. I'm not accepting any other friend invitations or anything. So I just, it's enough right now the way it is. So I did go and post on Instagram, which was my first time using Instagram. My account's been there for a while, but I've never really used it. So I still don't know what all you can do on there or how to use it really. But I did go because there was a requirement to post. They don't want you starting early on your project is what it is. So you have to go the beginning of each month because it's a 3-month stitch along. June, July, and August. And you go on there each month, the first of the month. And she'll let you post late. That's not the point. But the first of the month, you post before you start on your project. You need to take a picture of the pattern, your fabric, all your threads, any project. You're going to bead, all your beads. But I think since it's supposed to be a project you can complete in 1 month, I don't know how many people are going to do beading on it. Unless it's just a smaller one. But anyway, so I'm going to talk first of all about my first project for them. Hold on. Let me move this other thing here. My puppies, while we were chit-chatting, decided this was a good time to dump everything. So you have to excuse me. I had it all organized here, and of course it's not anymore. Anyway, so this is the June one that I just finished last night. So my June for that stitch along. And some of you who have watched my channel before, I've brought this up. But anyway, so this was the one that I chose to do for June. This is a Robin Pickens. Now she has a series of these out, one for each season, which I may do when each season comes along. I don't know yet. Excuse me, like I said, I have to keep babysitting this pup. But this one's called the Blue Jay Summer. It's our seasonal courier series, and this one's the Blue Jay Summer. Now the recommended cloth that it was Prim 25 count Laguna vintage cross stitch cloth from Lori Holt for Zweigart. Now she had some other recommendations as well. Just any 25 count Laguna, or you could do a 28 count linen. Excuse me, I apologize. Or a 14 count Aida. So what I ended up doing was I chose to do the 25 count, but I was looking at it and I couldn't figure out what exactly the deal was with the Prim. And if I'm being honest, I still don't 100% understand the difference. I looked it up and Googled it as best I could tell, because none of the websites, they just said Prim. Well, what does that mean? Why is it double the cost of other Laguna? I mean, it was obviously Zweigart Laguna. I just didn't get it. I mean, because the one they recommended was Lori Holt's, and Lori Holt's cross-stitch fabrics are all Zweigart's, and she, through some sort of an agreement between Riley Blake Designs and Zweigart, she has, basically taken some of their stock colors, and then she renames them to go along with her line of fabric. so that they will match her cross stitch patterns, be what she wants in her cross stitch patterns. And so the names that she gives them goes along with the cross stitch patterns that she's currently producing. So so this one was called Vintage, but it was Prim, 25 count Prim. And I went and like I said, I Googled it, and it said Prim, it has a more luxurious feel and a slightly more luxurious appearance to it. I kept thinking about it, and I'm on a very tight budget as a senior on a fixed income. So I thought, well, I'm going to order just the plain Laguna 25 count. Now, so then I started looking at the colors. And, you know, as a beginner, this whole world of ordering cross-stitch fabrics is difficult. That's why I think so many people just order what's called for. Because I was trying to match what it looked to me like this picture was in the color. When it came, it isn't that color. What I got was ended up getting for it. It's called Vintage Cloth Parchment, and it's the same thing. It's the Lori Holt, you know, that's done with that's from the Lori Holt line. And I thought, well, okay, it's parchment. So it came, and it's a lot. There is a significant color difference between this and that. If you look at this one that's on the picture, the little white cross stitches over here, and I don't think you'll be able to tell it on the camera, show up really nicely. And on mine, you can't tell that they're there. But let me get it out. I still am really happy. There are a lot of, I finished it last night, the June one. There are a lot of mistakes in it. It's my first ever finish since I started cross-stitching, because I can't really recall, even though I used to cross-stitch some years ago, it was primarily pillowcase edges and things like that, and they weren't on cross-stitch fabric, it was cross-stitch. And the puppy's just, excuse me, so so nothing like this. And I think I did buy some kits at Kmart when Kmart was a thing. Here in the United States, Kmarts are pretty much a thing of the past now. But they, I can remember they started carrying, I had never seen a cross-stitch fabric like that, or counted cross-stitch. It was a new thing to me, which I didn't know that that was something done way back in history either. It was just something that appeared in our local Kmart, these little kits. And I can remember doing those. I just don't recall ever completing one. No bites, Maverick. All right, I'm going to squirt you with the water. I got it right here. Okay. He takes that water bottle seriously. Yeah, he's playing. He is just so full of energy. We'll be going outside. We go outside and play like every 2 hours. He comes in and we have to calm him down. And then he takes a nap for about an hour and a half, 2 hours. And then he's ready to go again. No bites, Maverick. Good boy. And, but anyway, so this is my very first finish. I haven't decided what I'm going to do with it yet. But, I mean, to the experienced eye, you can look at it and you can see the errors in it. But, I'm really happy with it. I obviously messed up on some of my counting somewhere, and some stuff is up in that flowers where the main problems are. And I did figure out kind of where it is, but for me to fix it all, I would have to take out the entire bird, everything. Because that's where the mistake first happened in counting. And then I got some things mixed up in here. So I'm kind of learning some things about myself, is to not switch around, because that's the color that I have on my, in my needle. I either need to get a needle with all the colors I'm working on, learn that, parking method, or something. It's just nothing that I'm going to be able to. I've got to figure out something so that I don't have this happen, because I've got some full coverages coming up that I'm going to do starts on, and I've got to figure that out, because can you imagine pulling out a full coverage? I just can't imagine. So, but anyway, and I can see where I also need to decide for sure what, and by the way, I did stitch this all in DMC, with the called for colors. So there's that one. I haven't taken the time out to make any project bags. I do have the fabric to do several, but I haven't. So that is, that is that. Now, I would like to go ahead and go into, trying to keep things away from the puppy. The other thing now that I'm working on, that will actually in a couple of days be another finish, because it's a mini, but it will, I'm trying to remember the count on this fabric, but no. Basically, what I'm doing is, you know, I'm a Memorial Day start. And I had bought this Primrose Cottage, and I noticed a lot of people working out of this, with 12 monthly minis by Lindsay Waite. And what I am doing is this one right here, for a Memorial Day start. So I started a Memorial Day, and the goal is to get it finished by July the 4th. So, I can't show you what it looks like. Let me see if I can get a cover this pattern up, because the way that they have it for floss tube, this is a little difficult, but you can see a better picture of it here, I think. See that pillow? Yeah, just a little pillow. Now, it called for 32 count. I am using a small piece of scrap from another project I'm working on, so I am using a another 25 count, and this is a Fiber on a Whim Moonstone, I believe, and you can see I'm using this part right here for it. I'm not using the full 2-3 inches because I'm going to be making it in a pillow. I've made a lot of little mini pillows. I do not need a 3-inch margin to make a pillow. So, and I can sure use some more of this. I can get at least 2 more of the minis out of this piece of leftover fabric here. So there's just no way I'm gonna do that. So so anyway, so that's where that is a start, but I don't think it's gonna take me more than a day or two to get that done. And I'm using the called for threads, and I say called for threads, but really it's not. It was DMC colors that are in some off brand, probably from Asia or something, that I got off of Marketplace, and from someone destashing. So, and I got a bunch of them, and so I have been using those on things like this. Yeah, and actually they look pretty nice. I think they're a little bit more difficult to stitch with. So those are my two. That one's a finish. As far as this will be a finish, and it'll show up on my next floss tube as a finish, but it won't be finished today. Now, some other things that I worked on this month, are the other main thing I'm going to show you is the mystery sampler I've mentioned that was from the oh, I made a mistake. That fabric is 28 count on that mini pillow. This is from the, if any of you bought this magazine as they were selling out, it It's the Gift of Stitching magazine from February 2006, and I am doing their mystery sampler. I'm about to start on the second month. I'm very behind. I'm about 3 weeks behind. But what you're going to be seeing is this section here, and I'm about to start on the second month. Now there is something missing from this section, and I'll tell you about it when we get there, because I didn't like it. I just did not like it on there, and I took it all out. And I'm using some of my stash threads for this. It's on Laguna 28 count moonstone. So now you know where that scrap came from. And here it is so far. Now the bottom of the snail, as you can see at the bottom there, is not on this month's chart. And it's not on next month's either, but it'll, because this bottom corner is not where it goes. You can see here, let me pull it down. This bottom corner down here. The rest of, there's more to this snail, I think, that shows up in a later edition. And then up in here, the other half of these designs here show up. This is the tail of, I don't remember if it's a bird or something, but it's a something from the animal kingdom. And we'll see that when we get there. Now there are some things I changed. This was a different specialty stitch. I did the specialty stitch. I found it easy enough to do. I just did not like it. So I achieved the same sort of argyle effect just by doing large cross stitches, which were much easier and I thought turned out nice. Then there's a specialty stitch, several different specialty stitches. And over in here, this area right here, and this did not turn out right. I did it like 5 times. I still cannot figure out if it's a pattern error or if it's me. And the whole rest of this turned out really, really nice. But there's more specialty stitches in there. And then there's a lot of specialty stitches, which has been quite a challenge for me as a beginner. But it's 28 count Laguna, and like I say, this is 1/5 of it. The very center here will be the last one part I think they introduce, and it's like a circular area that'll be in the center here. Maverick, that's all a no-no. And that's going to have a peacock in it. And I love peacocks, and that's one of the reasons I chose it out of the magazine. Now, and as I said, I've got that kitted up, and I'm about to begin on the second month. So I'm just missing a flower from here. It had like a floral kind of motif with a specialty. I don't think it was a windmill stitch. I can't remember what it was called. And I did it, and I hated it. I just did not like it. And so I found something else that I'm gonna put there in that area that I just think is prettier. I figure it's my thing, and it's my money being expended. And now the designer of this was someone whose name is Yvonne Horn, who lives in France, and this was in 2006. Lives in France but had an English upbringing. And so Yvonne Horn, that was the designer of this, and she was a Papillion Creations. And I don't know if what I have found is a lot of the threads called for in this magazine don't exist anymore, because it pretty much recommends, it always has the DMC equivalent, but most of them anyway, the designers are not anybody that I've heard of designing anymore, or some of them they're these over-dyed threads and cottons and silks, and in one pattern I was looking at, it's case wools, that I haven't been able to. Now I don't think they're producing their hand dyes anymore. The next one that you're going to see me talk about, and I got only a very little done on this. I was watching a movie the night I was working on this for this month, and I just didn't get much done on it. I have yet to figure out the perfect system for me to organize if you buy any of these kits. Now, those of you that have been on my FlossTube before know that I bought a bunch of different of these pre-stamped kits off of Marketplace from an elderly lady who was just selling out her stash. She had this, she had linen kits all kitted out. She wanted a lot for those, which weren't in my budget at the time. But now I wish I'd gotten some of them because she had some really nice ones. But anyway, I didn't. But anyway, this is a Joy Sunday kit. Amsterdam. No, this one's Copenhagen. I'm sorry, Copenhagen. I've got a bunch of these kits, by the way, that I got from her. Because after I bought them, one day, we kind of became friends. And one day, she texted me she'd left something outside my door and she was on her way to the doctor. Well, it was a whole bunch of these kits. She gifted them to me. She just wanted them out of her way. So what it was, because she wasn't going to do them. And I have enjoyed them. I can't say I would buy a bunch of them myself again, unless it was something I couldn't find the pattern, a pattern for. Because I like the fact that a lot of them are done off classic art pieces and things like that. So really, what have I gotten done here? Oh, I didn't work on this one this time. Yeah, I didn't. I'm sorry, guys. I got it out, and I remember now. I got it out, and ended up putting it away for something else. I definitely have it in the stuff I want to work on right now, but I don't remember why I put it back away. I am so sorry. I don't want to waste your time. I will edit that one out. Get it back into its bag. Wish me luck on that. I don't like all this dangling thread, and that's my problem. I know people get the floss things. I don't have anywhere to hang things like that, and it's not going to happen anytime soon. And that is my main thing about everybody puts theirs on floss hanger, dangler things. I'm just gently winding mine around bobbins, and I know that's not what the thing everybody is saying is, but so far it's worked out fine. I haven't ended up with any creases or any of the things everybody says to watch out for. So, but this was a mistake, the way I tried to organize that thread into Ziploc baggies. I won't do that. All right. So there is that one. Now this one I for sure did work on. Trying to remember how much I got done on it. This one was a new start. And it's another one of the stamped kits. And the thing about me showing these stamped kits on FlossTube is they're so busy with all of that printing that you cannot, to me, I can barely see what I did. But it's a reproduction of some Asian artwork. And the kit was unbranded, but here's the picture. It's on 11 count Aida of all things. Let me make sure this one's 11 count or, yeah, 11 count Aida. So I'm using 3 strands of the floss that came in the kit. You got to cut the floss relatively short. All of these canvases have kind of stiff canvas, but I think they do that on purpose because of this printing process. But a friend of mine completed this one, and hers is gorgeous. I showed her that it was one of them that I got. She said, "Oh, Jackie, I've done that one." She says, "It's a gorgeous one." And hers, and she showed it to me. I went to visit her, and it was gorgeous. So, well, she's just a new acquaintance that I just met. And so anyway, so there's that. That one has barely got that start on it. It's yellow, and it's all in a yellow thing, so you couldn't really see it. But that one has been started. I think once I start getting into more of the colors, though, y'all will be able to tell. But that was a new start this month. This is why you want a project bags, right? So these, by the way, until you can, if you're new like me and you can't get, you can go to the grocery store and go to where the Ziploc bags and all of that are at. And usually they're at the very, very top. There's 2.5 gallon Ziploc bags. And while not perfect, not pretty, not trendy, they will work until you can get going with what you want. The next one, I concentrated on my Stitch Camp project and a couple of other things that I have going in quilting. So I didn't really get a lot done on cross stitch other than that. But this is my sampler that I've been working on that I got at the for like $1. It's a kit at Goodwill some years ago. Cherry ABC is what it's called, and it is I believe a designer's name was Ursula Michael, because that's who owns the copyright for it. But the company is called Designworks. And I think the last time we were here, what I had done was the border along the top and finished that was just kind of gone in there and fixed some errors that I had. And in between now and then, what I have all I've really done is working on this A here. I kind of put it away so that I could start working on the Camp Stitch. But I'm going to definitely be getting some more done on that this month. Okay. Because I think that my cross stitch, I'll talk more about cross stitch camp here in a moment, because I'm going to talk about starts coming up for July, and I will bring that up. Okay. That is just in like a quart Ziploc bag, because it's a small piece. Now, this is another one. I actually got quite a bit done on this one, but it's another one of those cases. I don't know how well it's going to show up on a video. But first, it's another one of those stamp kits, and it's also 11 count, and it's just roses. I don't know why they send these with stickers, but they do. And I think it's going to be 49 by 70 centimeters. Yeah. And beautiful, vivid colors. I'm not digging them all out. I think you can see the colors pretty much that are in there. But I've been doing a lot of reds and some very vivid pinks on it so far. And so when you look at it, that's all you're seeing if you look at it. You can see where I've gone around throughout the canvas and done stitching of individual colors to use up my thread. So, you know, as I finish with a section, my goal is to work on this section here like 70 by 70, kind of in that realm of the thing. And then, but I've been spending a lot of time, because once you take thread out, I just don't like to, but so far, you know, I want to finish the strands of thread. And you can see I've got some here that I didn't get finished the last time. But I did get some progress on that. And once again, it's still a long way to come. And I think that's going to be pretty as well, despite there being only 11 count. So far, the stitching, I will say that because of the way that canvas is so stiff, it's rather hard, and these are inexpensive threads. But there's a kind of a gloss to the threads that, to me, even though you're not going through multiple times, all of that, it's hard on the threads, and they kind of lose some of their glossiness. All right, so basically that's all I got to work on this past month. Now I want to talk about what's coming up for July, and one of those things is going to be Christmas in July. And I have been rather torn about it, but I made my decision, so I'm going to talk to you about why. One of my first choice was going to be, and I'm probably going to be doing Christmas all the way from now till Christmas, but I'm going to wait and start on this later, and those of you that have been listening to me know I've been having some eye issues. I'm going to be having some surgery. My glasses no longer work, or I would have them in. But what has kept me stitching are these things. What a game changer. It's got a light in it. I'm going to show you how bright that little light is on its highest setting. And it comes with about 5 different lenses of different magnifications. And that has been a game changer for me. And it has allowed me to start on Laguna, which I kept trying to do Laguna and I was just messing it up. And I now realize it probably wasn't so much the Laguna as it was trying to see the threads on there really well. Anyway, it's a long story. Anyway, this is a Thea Governor kit. And it's simply entitled Christmas Design. But it's a really large piece. It ends up being 26 by 23.6 inches when it's done. And it's a Christmas scene with cherubs in the top and music notes in the bottom. And it's on Aida, but and it does not give the count of the Aida anywhere in the kit. Let me tell you something about some of these kits. They don't give you any sort of equivalency or numbers like a lot of the ones. These are from overseas, Holland, and they don't tell you the DMC equivalents. They use the anchor threads there. They don't even give you the anchor equivalents because I think they don't want you kitting it up again. They want you to buy another kit. But the problem with that is if you make a mistake or anything like that, you cannot get, the only thing you can possibly do is take a little end piece of the thread up and go to the DMC counter, because that's all there is around here is DMC, and try to match it up as best you can. And which is rather irritating. Now, I'm not bothered by the fact that this is Aida thread because it is a very small count, whatever it is. I would venture it's either 18, maybe 18. It might even be smaller than that. Because I know with it being black, I sat down and started stitching on it. It's actually got about 3 or 4 stitches. And I said, whoa, even with these jeweler's glasses, this is going to be really difficult for me. So I'm going to hold off on this. I may still yet give it another try. But I'm hoping by Christmas I will have had my eyes done. And when I have my eyes surgery done, this will be a celebratory. It's not really a surgery. It's a laser procedure in the office that'll take an hour. But it's going to have a good size copay. And I'm paying off other medical bills right now. So it's going to have to wait. And plus I want to see a certain doctor for it. And I have to go when that doctor's available. So that's another issue. He's difficult to get into. So, but anyway, but when it comes to your eyes and somebody zapping it with a laser, yeah, I'm gonna go to someone I trust. So anyway, but I'll celebrate and get this started no matter what time of the year it is, just because I feel like it's going to be really hard for me. So I'm not going to do that for my Christmas in July. What I'm going to do for my Christmas in July is another one from the Gift of Stitching magazine. And it's a Christmas sampler. Let me fold the page, try to hone it in so you can see it a little bit better. And it's called The Night Before Christmas Scrapbook is what it's called. And the designer was someone named Sandy Orton. I think, I don't know where she's from. And the reason I say this magazine was actually out of New Zealand. And I noticed this model was stitched by someone out of New Zealand. But let me see. Here it is. And it's recommending either a 28 count ivory cashel, which I don't know. I'm assuming that's a linen. I don't know. Or a wheat straw, a 14 count wheat straw Aida. Now, I am learning I actually prefer the Laguna over the Aida to stitch on. But I've got some Aida that 14 count that needs to be used up, and the color is right there. I think it'll look really nice. So I'm going to do it on some 14 count DMC Aida that I have. And I don't think it's called wheat straw or anything else like that, but it's very similar in my it's in my stash down there. I haven't gotten it out, but that's what I'm going to use it on. I have kitted it out using some of those off-brand threads that I told you that I have in my stash. And that will be started here. And that's going to be a July start. When it's done, it's going to be, the stitched area is going to be 8 3/4 inches by 12 inches. That's on a 28 count or a 14 count. So it's not really big. So I'm thinking that, you know, I'll be able to get, it depends on the stitches, but the stitch count is 123 by 164. So I don't know. We're going to see how difficult it is to do, because as you could tell by looking at the picture, there's a lot in it. But I think it's within my skill level, and going to do that. So, and it does not look like there's any specialty stitches on it, which is kind of unusual about, then this magazine has a fair amount of them. So I think it's going to turn out really cute. And there is, I think that looks almost like the words "to all and to all a good night, Happy Christmas." That looks like it's cross stitch, the Happy Christmas part of it. But to all and to Happy Christmas, to all and to all a good night. And anyway, even up here, 'twas the night before Christmas. Some of that looks like it may be backstitched. I don't know, but I don't mind backstitching. So anyway, so that's going to be my Christmas in July start. All right. Now, my Stitch Camp start for July, this will be the second of 3 months, is going to be this Teresa Kogut pattern called, it's number XS293. It's called Psalms 91:11. For he will command his angels to guard you in all your ways. And it looks like I should be able to get that done easily enough in the month of July. It's something that was in my stash. I did purchase from Colorado Cross Stitcher, and I'm using some of my threads in my stash, some of the same cotton threads from that company. Because like I said, I have a huge amount of them that I'm used up. Oh no, it looks like I kitted this out in DMC. I'm sorry. It is DMC. So it's the called for threads. I apologize. And it didn't call for the exact linen that I have. I mean, the exact fabric that I have here. It's right here, Jackie. It called for 32 count charcoal linen. And I ended up, it says X-Jude Design 32 count charcoal linen, which I could not find. I have found it since then, but at the time I was looking, I couldn't find it. And I kept looking at linen, and I was afraid of it, to be honest with you, at the time I did my order. And I'm still a little nervous about it. So I ended up ordering this 32 count charcoal Zweigart Laguna. And I know it's 32 count. The other one's 32 count. I totally get that. But this is more even in the weave. I don't quite have an understanding of how to accommodate for some of those irregularities in the linen. And I was watching at someone's house on their floss tube the other day. And to me, the house just looked lopsided, and I could tell by looking at their linen that it was the linen that was lopsided. It wasn't, their stitching was lopsided. So, I mean, I didn't like that. And so I don't know. I don't know. But anyway, so this is a 32 count. So it'll end up being 2 over 2. And so I think I'll enjoy it. And let me get it back in the bag. And I tell you, Colorado Cross Stitcher, her shipping was like, she got that, and I know she was busy. She was telling everything that she was doing, but I'm telling you, this stuff got here quick. This, both, because I ordered my June pattern from her, and then I ordered this fabric from her at the same time. And it got here lickety-split. Now, I don't really have a haul for you, but I did purchase one pattern. I'm on a no spin for about 3 months now. Again, starting in July. And now I did place an order and I paid for it. And I'll talk about it when it comes in, for something that it's a pre-order. Excuse my hiccups. It's a pre-order and it won't be available until I don't think it's even being shipped until the end of July. So, but I ordered the Queen of May from Hands Across the Sea. And I'm a member on the Facebook group there. And I've done some of the small pieces she posts for free for the members of her Facebook group. But I've not done any of her other things. Well, I haven't done them. I've started them. But this one's the Elizabeth Stevenson, from 1854. And that's who was chosen as the Queen of May for 2025. I guess she does one of these every year. And I don't think I'll go into the history of this one. I will once I get to that. But if you ordered from her group using a special link, you got these 2 panels for free. A small one, and you can see it's a panel of the pattern, and then a big one. And I'm going to make a project bag for this one, out of this one. And then I think I'm going to make a needle thing with this one to keep threaded needles in, because I want to kind of start trying to keep needles threaded of various colors that are in use. I don't know exactly how I'm going to solve some of my issues with some of the mistakes I've been making. But anyway, so that's that. I'm going to be doing that now. I did go ahead and thread it out, and I did DMC. I priced the 100.3 Avere Asui, or however you pronounce it, but they're 100.3 silks is what they are. And they just weren't in my budget. So someone on the group on Facebook posted, here's what this project, because they had started on it, here's what that project looks like in DMCs, and it was beautiful. So I'm doing mine in DMC, and when my financial situation is better and I have a little more experience under my belt, I will consider trying the silks at that time for the right project. I can't say that I will do everything in silks, but I will consider giving it a try at that point. So I don't know when I'm going to start on this, because right now it's not in the budget for me to get the fabric. I'm considering trying a 32 count linen. I think I can upstitch on that. Now the linen that they used for it was Tabby Cat linen, and the shade was called Just the Ticket. And at the time, I don't know if, by the way, everybody kept saying the Attic has it all kitted out. You can call and order the kitted out, and I was calling to see how much the kitted out version was with the threads. And and not only could I not get through on the phone, but I couldn't figure out how you would order off their website. It looked to me like you just have to call. It doesn't even have really an inventory to order on, as best I could tell. So I think you have to call them and tell them what you want, and then they get it ready for you. I don't know how people are ordering from them, but I wouldn't want to do that. I want to see it on the website. So, I prefer to see it in person, but obviously where I live, that's not going to happen. So anyway, I still have to, I've got it. I do have the thread here. I ended up ordering that from the Fat Quarter Shop because I didn't know where else to order it from, but they have theirs it's all 89 cents. No problem there. But it came with this card that also gives you your color legend, and then you can write that for your floss tube and keep it in your project bag. And it also came, which was really cute, it came with this card that you could use as a gift card for someone. Now, it's not of that pattern, but it's of another sampler. Isn't that nice? So someone at some point will be getting a gift of that. Okay. That is a gift card. All right. So that was my only purchase, and I won't be making any purchases for about 3 months. So, but I have got so much here to do that there's no problem. My problem will be fabric. I would if I found some at a good enough price. But I've got enough already kitted out that for 3 months I should be fine. Now, like I said, I do have that one pattern coming. Now I want to, I thought I had what I was going to be doing in July for the Stitch Camp here, but I don't have that. So that's kind of what I have going right now. I do have some other plans. I kind of wanted to talk real briefly about how I'm planning on organizing my stitching. I don't like having all these uncompleted things. It gives me a feeling of, I don't know, anxiety almost. And what I've been thinking about doing is having different categories of stuff going. And then, and then every time I finish a pattern or a project, and all of these will be going, some of it will be what I call my morning stitch, which is ending up right now, and a lot of that's because of the new puppy. It's just a time when everybody's still sleeping. I can get things done. But because what I like to do is all of my fiber arts, my paper arts, and my multimedia and that kind of thing, it's now my new career now that I'm retired. That and doing some traveling. And that's what I consider it. And so when I'm home, I'm not sitting around. I am doing something. I just want to keep busy. And so I do my cross stitch in the morning and again in the evening after everything else is done. And everything's quieting down. I've got a podcast, or I'm watching FlossTube, or I'm watching QuiltTube, or I'm watching slow stitch videos, or I'm watching paper crafting videos, or multimedia videos. I have a number of different things that depends on what I'm in the mood for. And so I watch and I listen to those while I cross stitch. Or I'll be just doing regular embroidery, because I'm working, 2025 is my year of working on my embroidery stitches. So, which will probably continue into 2026, because I haven't gotten a lot done on that. But I decided I want to have different categories of types of projects going. For instance, I always want to have what I call a piece of master art going. I'm about to start one of those, probably not until August or September. But that being said, that piece of Chinese artwork is, I'm going to go ahead and count that for it now because I've got the stuff for that. So, but you know, there's people, you know, that there's people that do duplications of great masters, cathedral glass, modern artists, just that type of thing. Big master art. Even some cross stitch artists that have painted their own style of pictures like that. I've got one that's probably going to be my first one, because it's not going to be that big. It'll be a good place to start. But they're almost always complete coverage, and I just think they're going to be really good. And I purchased some other PDF ones. I'm just really going to, I think, enjoy some of them. They just are not all kitted out, and I'm just not going to have any room to kit anything new out. I've got to do things that I have the stuff for. Which is probably good to do every once in a while anyway, right? To kind of get your stash work down and actually use some of your stuff. So, but I want to always have one of those going. I always want to have an antique sampler reproduction going. Then I'd like to have a modern sampler reproduction going. Then I want to always have, right now it's Asian art piece going. I like Asian art. There's some Japanese pieces that I want to get going. The one I'm doing right now is Chinese, as you know. That the Japanese ones that I want, I found some really good quality patterns for. So I'm going to do those. The other thing is I like to do birds. So I would like to always have a bird being done. And I'd like to try my hand at some of the fancy ladies, but I don't, looking at that and all the beadwork and things on some of those, I think those will hold off for just a little bit. I don't feel ready for that yet. We'll see. But I think as my stitching improves and I can not make as many mistakes, you know, because I spend a fair amount of time going back and fixing my mistakes. And to discover them later in the project, that was just horrifying for me on the one that I just finished. But I decided that it wouldn't make enough of a difference in the final project. And I really liked the way it turned out. And so I just decided I wasn't going to rip it all out again. I had plenty of thread. That wasn't the issue. And I had time to do it. You know, I have until the end of June, and we're hitting at the 19th now, so I could have done that. But I didn't want to. I was happy with it. I liked the way it turned out. But so I'm going to have different categories like that. And I haven't decided all the categories yet. But I think then it's going to be seasonal. And I don't think I'm going to always have seasonals that I just leave for the next year. I have a difficult time with that. I don't do Halloween like everybody else does. So I can easily work on Christmas all during all of that. I probably won't have tons of Christmas going, but for Christmas in July, I still would like to pick out one more pattern, a mini. So, and I have a goal of doing a monthly mini. So another start that you're probably going to see on my next floss tube is I'm probably going to do out of that same book that I'm working out of now for the other mini. I'm going to do another patriotic mini, and that I have a pattern for. It's a long narrow pillow that's in the magazine. Many of you probably have seen it, just cross stitching. So but I'm going to have a year of doing at least one patriotic going all the time, because of this of the 250th anniversary of our country. So I'm going to be doing a patriotic all the time, every month. So I should be able, I'm hoping to complete at least 12 projects patriotic projects in the next 12 months. So they're not any of them going to be big, giant. I may find a patriotic sampler that may be bigger and take longer to do, but I mean, all of these little ones, I'm going to get them done. The rest of them will be all smalls. So that is my ongoing. Took a lot longer to talk about that than I planned, but some of this is going to be edited out because of puppy power. But anyway, talk to you guys next time. And look for later in the week. I'm going to be talking about my progress on my now behind slow stitching and some other things. Love you guys. Bye-bye.